Hi, Church on Mill. We're having a rather odd experience right now the last several months, in that very normally in our society, maybe the very last genuine taboo topic is death. We just don't talk about death. And yet, anytime you look at any kind of news media at all right now, there's a rolling death count. And so we're seeing every day put before us how many people have died from COVID-19. That number is being constantly updated. It's pretty sobering if you stop and look at it. And yet we're a people who are accustomed to generally not talking about death hardly at all. I mean, we put people who are nearing the end of their life away from society, and death just doesn't hold the kind of place that it has for most of the world, for most of time. And yet we are seeing this running count every day of how many people have died. So it sort of feels like whiplash in that we're not used to thinking about this, and yet it's very much right before us. So what do we do? Well, thankfully, church, the scriptures teach us so much about death. And that's good news that we know the truth about what happens. Unless the Lord returns, all of us will share the same fate. We will all die. And the end of our lives is not the end, because we are all eternal beings. And the scripture tells us that everyone who's born will live forever. And that means that we will either spend eternity in heaven with the Lord, or we'll spend eternity in hell apart from the Lord, only in relationship to Him and His wrath. And so this is a critical topic for us to be aware of. One of the verses or passages that is so helpful to us as we try to be informed is 2 Corinthians chapter 5. I'd encourage you to read the whole thing, but consider just verse 8. Yes, we're of good courage, for we would rather be away from the body and be at home with the Lord. So whether we are at home or away, we make it our aim to please Him. And then if you go back up a little bit, a couple more verses earlier, it says, we are always of good courage, for we know that while we are at home in the body, we're away from the Lord. You see, to be at home in our bodies here is to be physically away from the Lord. But to be absent from our bodies, meaning to have died, is to go literally, directly, immediately into the presence of the Lord and be with Him forever. As you see that rolling death count, let that remind you that you too will one day, Christian, go and be with the Lord. And so live today to please Him.